This is Betty Traciak from kittystamp.blogspot.com, and I have a tutorial today to show you how to use iron-on vinyl in your paper crafting projects. Today we're going to be making a simple notebook, and I also have some tips and tricks of things that I have learned along the way. Supplies that you need for this project are an iron-on fusible vinyl, scrapbook paper, scissors, a protective surface that you can iron on, and an iron. You also will need any supplies that you would like for your particular project in terms of decorating, your stamped images, and any embellishments and scrapbook adhesive. A big advantage to using an iron-on vinyl is that it is less sticky than a clear contact paper when you're putting something on. I find that if I am trying to laminate something with a contact paper, you only get one shot at it. If you happen to mess it up, it's very difficult to pull off the contact paper and reposition without tearing your project. It also can crinkle and you're kind of stuck with it. What I have found that I really like using the vinyl that is iron-on is that the back of it is not as tacky, so that when you put it on you can reposition it and then iron everything and everything stays in place nicely. To demonstrate the use of the iron-on vinyl, I'm going to show this simple notebook. I used the matte vinyl for this and I really like the way it turned out. It makes the coloring even more vibrant. After you've put a lot of work into coloring a project, it's nice to have something that's a little bit more durable. This is easily wiped down and is something that could be popped into a purse. I put grid paper on the inside. This is what I like to use when I'm out and about and have inspiration for a project. And I also added a piece of ribbon for a bookmark. For the notebook, I used a piece of scrapbook paper that it is 9.5 by 6 1/4, and I've already added the stamped image to that. For the vinyl, I will be covering both sides of that, and I could cut two pieces, one to cover the front and one to cover the back, but because this is a notebook, I wanted this edge right here to have it folded over so that it's just a little bit smoother, makes it a little bit nicer finished edge on that. So what I did was I cut this to be twice the length of the scrapbook paper and then just a little bit wider than the paper in this direction, because this can easily be trimmed off. The vinyl has a paper backing that is used to protect your surface between the vinyl and your iron so that the vinyl does not stick to your iron or to your mat. So one thing that I found that is helpful is when I have done a bigger project, I save the backing and I put that down as a base to be able to work with. Then I take the scrapbook paper, and sometimes this is a little bit tricky to get peeled off to get it started. But once it is started, this can be peeled off and placed on the project. And here's where it's nice in that this is different than a contact paper, because this is very easy to be moved back and forth. It doesn't stick, it doesn't pull up or ruin the project underneath it. So I cover the one side, flip it over, and fold the vinyl over. And then if there are any embellishments that you want to add, you can check to see that everything is nice and smooth. If you had something that you wanted to add at this point, you could peel it up and stick something down. Because I want to add the ribbon to the inside, I'm going to just pull back one of the edges, make sure I have this in the right direction, and pull back the edge and add a piece of ribbon. Then, with just a regular scissors, trim along the edge prior to ironing. Actually, I should have trimmed that there before I put the ribbon down. That would have been a little bit easier. Then, with the paper underneath, place the vinyl project down and cover that with another piece of the release paper that comes with the vinyl. For your iron, you need to have that set at a medium heat and no steam. I have the steam off on this. So, just take it and iron according to the directions, which is about 5 to 10 seconds on each side. Flip it over and iron the other side. To finish the notebook, the pages on the inside are made with 8.5 by 11 paper. I use grid paper because that's what I like when I am sketching out designs for inspiration. To do that, the paper just needs to be cut in half. At 5.5. And then fold it in the center. You can use a sewing machine. I used a sewing machine on this one. An alternate option is to pierce the pages with a paper piercer in the center. And you can line up the notebook at the same time and poke the holes. And then my needle and thread has disappeared. I'll be right back once I find my needle and thread. A few other tips for using the vinyl. Once you have it fused on both sides, it still is easy to cut it. The vinyl itself will cut, and it will still cut through the cardstock with just a regular paper trimmer. Also, I found that I was able to punch with it. This might depend upon the type of punch that you have, but mine worked easily. This here has the vinyl on both sides, and it punched easily through. When I tried using it with a die cut, I found that at first it looked like it hadn't gone all the way through, but in fact it had. It was very easy to punch out. Now this might depend a little bit on the thickness of your cardstock. This is a little bit lighter weight cardstock, so you may need to play around with that a little bit using a shim if you have a thicker piece of cardstock. Also, once you have the vinyl on both sides, it makes it quite stable to do any sewing on it. This is a little coupon clutch that I made. This has the vinyl fused on both sides, and then I just stitched around the edges. That was just a very simple project. Another project with stitching is this one. This is a little key holder where I just used that die cut previously, stitched around the edge and stopped, started on this side again and stitched from here and stopped. So there are lots of different ideas that you can use with the iron-on vinyl. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you.